Hello, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to catch rats with this trap right here. This is the Indigenous Taiwanese Deadfall Trap. Up in the central mountain range, the tribes such as the Seediq, Bunun, Truku, and Atayal use it to catch things like rats and squirrels. So in the Seediq language, they call this the Dangan. If you want to see how to make and set this trap, I've linked the video in the description, so go check that out, and I'll also provide a link at the end of the video. Okay, so just a disclaimer before I start, I do not like to kill animals, but I'm mainly doing this for two reasons, one of which I'm practicing these traps to preserve the ancient traditions of Indigenous Taiwanese hunting and trapping. I practice things like building and using these traps and archery, but mostly only to preserve the tradition, not to gather food or anything like that. Okay, and now the second reason is because all of these rats we have here in the yard have caused us so much trouble, and just having them around isn't safe. So, these past few years that we've had these rats here, they've been eating all manner of our fruit. We've gotten very little fruit from our fruit trees these past few years. They've eaten our apples, our persimmons, our figs. One of them even tried taking a bite out of my taro. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't have been too fun for him, but either way. Another thing is, it's very unsafe to have them around the house whenever we have dogs over or anything. Our dog is very well trained and stuff, but we often babysit other people's dogs. And depending on whether or not those dogs are trained or not, it can be a really big problem. Okay, so we're going to have this trap set up for a couple nights. We're going to maybe take a few things to cover it up, because in previous attempts, I have noticed that rats like to climb on top of the trap, and when they're on top of the trap, they'll just cling onto the top and go under, grab a seed, and then run away. And we don't want that happening, so we want them going in underneath it. So we're going to place a couple of things on top. And so I have trapped a rat before using a smaller dangan, but now we're going after a couple of bigger rats. Okay, as for baiting, I'm just going to be putting a couple of sunflower seeds out underneath the trap there, right next to the trigger on either side. I've found that a lot of the time the rats don't like to go underneath the trigger to grab the bait. They'll usually go on top, so that way they'll set off the trigger and the trap will fall down. And it'll fall down just like this. Okay, so it's the morning after we set up the trap for the first time. So what happened is we almost got a rat, but the rock didn't fall with enough force on it, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't heavy enough. So I set up this trap in hopes I'd get one of the smaller rats I've seen in previous attempts when using this trap. But today we found out that there is a pair of them that are much, much larger than any of those small rats I've ever seen. So we're going to set it up again, a bit different. We're going to lift up the rock and maybe put a couple of weights on top of it. Okay, so for this night, I'm going to be putting a couple more weights on top of it, a couple more rocks on top of the deadfall. So hopefully, if I do catch a rat, one, it dies a quick, painless death, and two, it won't crawl out. So hopefully this should be enough weight for tonight. I also lifted the rock up a bit, so that it comes down with greater force. I was mostly just expecting to catch like that one small rat that I saw, but so hopefully this works. Okay, so it's the morning after we set our trap up with all the weights on it, and it looks like we got a really big rat. So by the looks of the footage that I got, it seemed like it died really quick and painlessly. So let me clarify just once again, I do not like to kill rats, I do not like to kill any animal. But these rats have been so much damage and just such a pain that it's pretty much a must at this point. For example, just a little bit ago, I was babysitting a terrier, and every time she'd see or even hear a rat, she'd just start going crazy, barking and all of that. And even occasionally, because she wasn't very well trained, she would stop listening and things would happen, like she'd go under the hedge, and that'd be a very big problem because we don't want her to get bit. That could lead to all manner of terrible, terrible things. So at this point, it was pretty much a must. I do not like killing these animals, but I do it for a cultural reason and also to get rid of these pests. Okay, so let's remove all of this stuff I've put on it. And then there's our rat. So what I'm going to do with him, or her, I'm not sure. What I'm going to do is because I can't really eat these dirty city rats unless I cook them really, really well, and I've never cooked or eaten rat before, I'd like to at least have cooked one wild rat that's not so likely to be diseased and parasited, so before I eat any city rats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the body and bury it somewhere in the yard here as fertilizer for the plants that they've been eating. So that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you want to see how to make this trap that I used to catch this rat and failed at catching a couple others, please check out this video. If you want to see more Indigenous Taiwanese crafts and other things, please consider subscribing. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and bye!